Thanks for joining us on Behind the Boost. I'm excited to be here today and speak with Lyn Askin. Lyn is an amazing person. I met him about a month and a half, 2 months ago. And ever since then, it's literally felt like I've known him for years. The conversations that we've had, I think we've booked out like three or four times. We end up speaking for 45 minutes about just life, which is the way that it should be. We were briefly just speaking right now, and it was just, the value of authenticity in today, or in today's world, it is hard to find. And everybody's searching for a click or just to sell something. Lyn, tell me about how you became this authentic dude that I always want to speak with.
Man, I don't know the answer to that, but I'm super happy to be here. How did I become authentic? I think there's so much value in it. I think, there's a lot of fake it till you make it in our industry. And, I think we all probably did that at some point.
Of course.
But at some point in your life, you've got to live with what resonates with you inside. When you're at conflict with your personal morals and values, and what you say is different than what you really feel, man, that's a weird place to live. And so I've tried the best of my ability to just be purely authentic and be me and be open and be honest.
Yeah.
Just I don't know. I tell you what I feel. I don't think there's any surprises from me. I don't think.
I think one thing about being authentic is you never have to think, okay, this person thinks of me like this. This person thinks of me like this. And I've got to keep up this persona. It honestly just goes away where it's like, I'm the same weirdo with that guy compared to this guy. And I'll know whether or not I want to speak to either of them at the end of the day, which I appreciate. So, Lyn, thank you so much for that. Tell me, I want to know where you're from. Where'd you grow up? Where are you at now? Give me the life story in a brief nutshell.
Sure. I'll give you that really quickly. I was born in Las Vegas, Nevada. My family was from Montana. My dad moved to Vegas in the 60s for work.
Okay.
I was born there in 1970, lived there until about 81 when my parents moved back to Montana. Grew up in a really small town in Montana, about 2,000 people, about 46 kids in my graduating class.
No way.
Yeah. So
what was that like?
To me, it was normal. It was small town life, and, we all knew each other, and I got to do things in that small town, Nick, that I wouldn't have gotten to do had we stayed in Vegas. I would have never played football. I wasn't big enough or strong enough or fast enough. But in Baker, Montana, I played on a state championship team, started both ways, lost 3 games in 4 years, and built a lot of character that way. Played baseball, basketball, and got that kind of team sports, I don't know, this training almost that desire to win and learn how to work together towards a common goal, I think is really powerful. I went to college, University of Montana for a couple of years. Let me rephrase that. I was enrolled in the University of Montana for a couple of years.
Yeah, for sure.
Didn't spend a lot of time in class, realized I needed to get myself to work. And then I moved back to Las Vegas, lived there, pretty good portion of my life from 21 to about 33 or so, got married, had a baby, moved here to Louisiana to be near my wife's family. And we've been here now 22 years here in Louisiana.
That is cool, man. That is cool. I got some questions. Number one, Montana, small life. I was a troublemaker growing up, not like crazy troublemaker, right? We're not talking about law, but I mean, if I was TPing somebody's house or maybe like eggs or anything like that, what would that be like in a small town? Did everybody just know who it was?
Yeah, we did some of those dumb things that you do as kids, I imagine, but everybody knew who did what. And it was a very, very small town. I never got in any sort of trouble or anything like that. I probably did a few things I could have gotten in trouble for, but was overall a pretty good kid. And there was never any really, serious sort of consequences to that sort of thing in small town. Awesome. It was a really, really good life growing up. And, again, we got to do a lot of things probably wouldn't have gotten to do in the bigger city. And I don't know, when I look back at my youth and my upbringing, I'm really, really fortunate. I think I was really lucky to grow up the way that I did.
I love that. I think often when there's a lot of successful people that I meet, A lot of them have this story of like, you don't know where I came from. I started from the bottom, right? It's beautiful to hear somebody who says, you know what, I had a great upbringing, bringing in a great opportunity from where I lived. The, coaching aspect, the sports aspect, there's not a lot of people who say that. Everybody's trying to prove a point as well of, where I'm at compared to where I started.
Yeah, I think part of that is my story too. I grew up in a house with a lot of love, but not a lot of money. And I believe that made me entrepreneurial, Nic. I think that's what drove me to get my first paper out at age 8 or 9. It drove me to get my first job at 14, 15. It drove me to start a mobile dish hockey company in my teens and start building computers in my 20s and launch one of the first online auctions in 96 and build my first e-commerce store in 97. That was all built from a lack of having, financial means. Again, a lot of love in my house, but very little actual money.
Yeah. You know what? My family is similar, right? My parents grew up in Denver and they didn't like the area that was there. And they said, we're going to move down to Castle Rock, Colorado. And my mom worked her butt off. My dad worked his butt off in order to, provide for us there. And there was tons of love. We were playing soccer and my brothers were playing baseball and football. But we were always involved in something. My parents, I remember going and they would volunteer at bingo halls and the money that they got there would go to our soccer. And my parents made a soccer league for us in order for us to be able to play competitively. And those types of things allowed me to say, you know what, I'm going to get my first job. And my first job was at Castle Pines Country Club. And, you worked your butt off to earn where you're at. And that's the way it should be in my eyes, right? When you do something that you earn, you end up appreciating it a lot more.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I live a life of gratitude. I'm so grateful for even those humble beginnings and the struggle. I think I tell my clients there's beauty in the struggle.
Yeah.
When they're dealing with a difficult issue or they're having a challenging time in work, I'm like, guys, there's beauty in this. This is where the magic happens, because we have to learn from this. We have to grow from this, and we'll take lessons away from this. And so I think that's true of my life. I lived a charmed life, but it wasn't one of money for sure.
That's good though. I mean, and you're right. Iron sharpens iron, right? Every gym quote that's up in the weightlifting room that I'm not good at today. It is true. Through hard things, great things come, right? And we've been able to achieve some amazing things. Now, you're speaking about your clients. Tell me about your business. What are the services that you provide? Where did you get to where you're at and figuring out the products that you provide?
I think I'll start back a little ways. If I think it'll give you a little context on why I do what I do. I think I told you a second ago, I started one of the first online auctions in 1996. I think we predated eBay. Built one of my first e-commerce stores in 97 and ran that for 20 something years. Built one of my first websites for someone else, probably in where I was somewhere around 1997, 1998.
Okay.
And that started a career of about 26 years of owning and running a digital marketing agency.
Wow.
Had the same challenges that everybody else had a lack of clear vision about who we were and who we served, had maybe a lackluster team commitment, probably because of a lack of our clear vision, bad leadership, and then maybe a lack of discipline and accountability for the same reasons. And so, despite all of that, still had a pretty successful marketing agency over the years. In 2020, I had a massive pulmonary embolism, collapsed in the yard, and nearly died. It almost killed me. And as I was laying there dying, I was just consumed with the thought of what kind of mess did I just leave my wife and son?
Yeah.
My wife's going to have to go to the office, lock the door, fire the team, lose all the clients. And that would have been my, now we had some life insurance, but that would have been my legacy. That's
horrible.
That dismembering of my old job or business, I guess you want to call it. It was more of a job than it was a business. And it would have been a real struggle for them. And so thank God I survived that. Yeah. But I knew something had to change, and I knew that I had to build a business or a legacy or something for my family that would stand the test of time, or that would that would live on without me and that could really take care of them. It wasn't just a struggle day-to-day job. And so in 2014, let's go back just a little bit. Bought that book right there, Traction, by Gino Wickman. And I read it and I'm like, oh, that's nice. I wish I could do that. And I put it on the shelf. And in early 2021, as I recovered from my pulmonary embolism, I realized I needed it, and hired a professional EOS implementer and had a remarkable turnaround on my business. We 3x'd our revenue, we 7x'd our profits, we grew from 10 employees to 27, built a business that was actually growing and thriving, was able to take myself out of the day-to-day operations, and ultimately, Nic, it led to a successful acquisition. And so we were acquired, which led me to just the whole process of installing EOS, which is the entrepreneurial operating system in our business. It changed my life, probably saved my life. The stress that I was under running that business without some sort of framework, trying to reinvent the wheel every time you wanted to do something new or different, was killing me. And EOS changed that for me. And so when I had the opportunity to become an EOS implementer and help other people put this simple framework of simple tools into their businesses and build that sort of legacy and kind of business that they could thrive in and grow in, and their teams could thrive in and could build a legacy for their family and get them out of the day to day. I jumped at that opportunity. And so for the last 2.5 years, Nic, I've been implementing EOS. I'm a certified EOS implementer. I implement the entrepreneurial operating system into people's businesses.
That's beautiful, man. That's so cool. The reason why I like it is there's one thing of one person, one individual going out and helping somebody and with their own, making their own money, right? But when you can teach another man to fish and create that opportunity for them to then help impact others, you're helping them with actual communities where you're helping their families have enough. And then if you hire more people, even more families. Tell me a little bit about this framework that you're speaking to. What is that?
So EOS is it's a simple set of real world practical tools or timeless concepts. They've been around for 100 years. Yeah. Going to be around 1,000 more. It's not magic beans or silver bullets. It's just simple practical tools to help you get more of the right stuff done in your business. It's a framework to manage all the human capital that you have inside your company. And so, we find that as entrepreneurs are, we're used to the chaos. We are used to and are generally dealing with about 136 issues simultaneously. Yeah. And we just live in that chaos all the time. And we found that in EOS, that if you can strengthen just 6 key components of your business, those 136 issues tend to fall into place because they're really just symptoms of a real root cause. And so strengthening the 6 key components of your business will help you, run a better business and, quite frankly, live a better life.
I love it. What are those 6 things?
6 key components of your business are: number 1, your vision. The vision component, really simple. We got to get you and your leadership team 100% on the same page with where you're going and how you're going to get there. Now, the people component, that's pretty simple too. You can't achieve a great vision without great people. Mm-hmm. And then the data component is really about running your business on real facts and figures and numbers, and not emotions and subjective decision making that we so often do in our businesses. And then when your vision component's strong, and your people component's strong, and your data component's strong, your business becomes a little more transparent, and all of your obstacles and problems and challenges, those things just sort of jump out at you. And so we call those things issues, and we strengthen your issues component by making it so you and your leadership team are really, really good at solving problems as they arise, solving them at the root, making them go away forever at the, for the greater good of the company. And then, of course, you move over to your process component, which is about, systemizing your handful of core processes so that anybody who touches one of them does it the right way and the best way every time. And then we bring you down into the traction component, which is really about instilling discipline and accountability so that no matter where you look in your company, you actually see people executing on your vision. Because if you can't bring your vision down to the ground and execute on it with discipline and accountability,
there's no point.
We say that vision without traction is hallucination.
That's you know what? You're not wrong, man. You're not wrong. That's crazy. That's beautiful. And it sounds, I say this as respectfully as possible. It seems so like fundamental.
It's it's kind of funny. I tell my clients, you're going to be upset how simple this is.
Yeah.
Now it's simple, but not easy. And that's the challenge. The challenge is having that discipline and accountability to really buy into the system, really follow it well, and put systems in place across your entire company. Now that's hard because, as entrepreneurs, that's not always a skill that we have.
Thanks for tuning in to Behind the Boost. In our next episode, Lyn dives deeper into how EOS works, what it solves, and why it matters, especially for digital marketing agencies.